Okay, so we'll look at Titanfall 2 at 21:9 and specifically my thoughts on the game. Now, I really enjoyed the first game, but it did get lost in the tide of other titles at the time for me, and whilst I loved what it was trying to do, I just didn't find its pull strong enough to make me come back and play it instead of its competition. So the question I had for this was, could it possibly rectify this and keep me hooked? A task I admittedly did doubt before its release because of its position between the typical huge heavyweights in October and November. Especially of note, Battlefield, something I personally have a very big attachment to. And I've been seeing a few reviews on this game, saying it's one of the best shooters ever made, and whilst it does have many strong points, it's definitely not the best. Anyway, before I continue, if you want to see my full 21:9 support breakdown of the game, then check that out either linked in the description or just head over to my channel, everything will be there. So let's start with the single player, as it's the smallest component. Firstly, I must say, it is a great single player purely from the respect that it could have been absolutely useless, like so many of these kind of multiplayer first games. COD, Battlefield, I'm looking at you. It manages to mix up gameplay using level traversal to great effect. Yes, you do have ample gunning down many enemies, but it always tries to change things up with quickly changing Titan loadouts, so you have new weapons, pushing you to keep your movement fast and accurate, and adding in gameplay mechanics like time travel to brilliantly throw you off the standard path of what you would expect. And yeah, it means things feel fresh and new the whole time, with each level trying to throw something new at you. Now, I can't deny, I am seriously bored of this endless insistence of shooters being set in futuristic locations. It's just uninteresting to me now, and I know a lot of people think that now, and this is a gripe I have had for the multiplayer. However, the single player has more freedom to make the locations more interesting. For example, a standout level for me is the huge house factory section, which throws many curveballs at you, and it was just great fun. It's a great looking level that makes you think instead of just having you run down another straight line as per usual. Now, this isn't to say the story is amazing. It's not. I'm just praising it for making the best effort it could to stand out and make it worth your while to play. Realistically, it was never going to get the funding, support to try something BioShock quality, obviously. So yeah, just thanks for not doing a typical copy and paste single player and trying to claim it's anything worthwhile playing. It is appreciated. Moving on to the important piece, multiplayer. Things have developed notably from the first game. The gameplay is extremely smooth, very fast paced, and entices you to get very skillful in your map traversal. Working out how to get from point A to point B can involve many more routes than your usual boot stuck solidly on the ground game. You die quickly, and you really must focus on using your agility to avoid the lumbering powerhouses of the Titans. The maps are well designed in terms of levels and size, and the addition of the spectres and grunts and general AI elements really do aid to make the world feel very alive. And I really love the addition of the AI because of the fact that they provide a level of difficulty in terms of that they act as a mask. They disguise enemy players, and you must distinguish between the real threats, the real player, and the more harmless AI bots. Though that doesn't mean that they can't dish out the damage, and they can frequently deal the fatal bit of damage in a firefight at the critical moment. So yeah, I am very pro their addition. Now, whilst pilot versus pilot fights are pretty much equal and down to your skill and positioning as to who will win a confrontation, a Titan versus pilot is a very different situation, and it varies massively on the specifics of the moment. So straight Titan versus pilot, Titan will win every time, as it simply has a million times more firepower. But what the pilot can do, and what was a key change from the original I felt, is pilots can deal key damage to Titans in new ways now. Pilots can sneak up on and get on top of Titans to pull out their batteries and drop grenades into them, and quickly eject from the situation, making them a now dangerous pest for Titans. And what I frequently find is this game really pushes you as a pilot to take risks and get in close with Titans. I actually feel it far more useful to run with just a normal primary and have my secondary be a pistol instead of an anti-Titan weapon, a standard weapon in the first game that has been changed now, and so without this powerful weapon, I'm forced to resort to a literal hands-on method to dealing with Titans, and yeah, I really do love it. Now, that's not to say this is the only way to play this, not at all. It's just the way I've gravitated towards, and it is a really good adrenaline rush, dodging around something so dangerous whilst the pilot inside attempts to kill you before you can damage them. A link point to this, the removal of batteries and the ability to give them to allies or your own Titan is a very neat trick to encouraging both the hands-on approach of attacking Titans and also pushing for team play. Now, as I touched on earlier, my big gripe with this game is its futuristic setting. I won't deny the argument definitely stands that how could Titanfall not exist in a futuristic setting? But I'm just getting bored of that generic futuristic location. I want a new take on the future at least. This just looks exactly like all the latest CODs or any of those so-called futuristic shooters. There's nothing iconic about the art style or design of the buildings or weapons. Even the Titans don't appeal greatly. They don't make you go, oh wow, epic, this is something I've never seen something like it. It's just, I don't know, it's a bit mediocre, and I don't know, I'm just finding it a bit annoying. And I know this isn't limited to myself, because just look at the love for Battlefield 1. Gamers are most certainly in the mood for a return to old settings, or just original settings. Surprise us, make us something to look at and go, wow, I have never thought of something like this. It's a game. Art style, location, all the graphical elements are vital to making a game unforgettable. And in my opinion, every map here is extremely forgettable in terms of visuals. Now, I want to point out, this game doesn't feel like Battlefield in any way, and it does actually feel like the new futuristic CODs, but just done far better than those CODs. I can easily play this in tandem with Battlefield and not worry about feeling like the overlap beyond the idea of you are shooting things in first person. And this is key to this game's survival, a sense of identity. And that is my biggest point here. It definitely has a clear identity in every way other than its graphical look. Its graphics are the only letdown points. Otherwise, it's done a really good job of making a clear mark. Another key thumbs up is the removal of a paid season pass with new content coming for free. And in a time of endless paid DLC, it comes as a lovely surprise. Just look at Rainbow Six Siege, a game which has done brilliantly to retain and actually grow its online community as it's aged, and that has been in big part due to its routinely free content and not dividing up its player base. And this actually is a point I was a little worried about, because even now, at close to launch, I can't get a game on every single game mode, which isn't great. I'm hoping more people come in to fill the modes up, but yeah, either some modes are completely just hated universally, or there just aren't enough of a mix of people who own the game yet. So yeah, the idea of splitting the player base up even more with DLC, it just sounds like a terrible idea. The launch was pretty good, though I did have an admittedly bloody annoying problem with the multiple network adapters issue, meaning you can't get onto a data center without disabling the leftover adapters. But yeah, I quickly sorted that out after googling why I wasn't able to get online, and it's just a silly thing that should have been addressed prior to launch. Anyway, overall, this game is great. I don't think it's the best thing I've played in years, but I do think it's achieved precisely what it aimed to do, and it's done it with a nice flair, and I'm sure it will retain a large player base in a way that the first just didn't. And with its damn solid ultra-wide support, I can most certainly recommend anyone to buy this. And as I said, if you want to see my full thoughts on the 21x9 support, then check out my video on that linked in the description, or just head over to my channel. I hope that gives you a better idea of what this game has to offer at 21x9. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and subscribe for future info. For any of the games at 21x9, head over to my channel. Hopefully I've covered it. If I haven't, then leave a comment down below and I'll try and cover it. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, the links to my Patreon page are in the description. See you later. Myself a stand.
They were targeting this planet's moon as a test.
Sector A is clear of remnant fleet forces. Titan ready. Call at any time, pilot.